Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you all so much for joining. I need to figure out how to work this here. I've got a new setup here. Okay, so we've got our guest today, Kindred Being. They are quantum healing hypnosis therapist. Is that the proper term? Lilah and Jaime, welcome to the program, you guys. How are you?
Hi, we're doing very well. Thank you for having us.
Oh, my pleasure to have you on. I'm so glad that I could have you on because I think, just your story in general, stepping out and sort of beginning to live your purpose. And because, it's like a new chapter in your life. Sometimes it's hard to take that first step. So when I was talking to you about it, and, I know a lot of people are sort of at that point where maybe even they got fired or things are getting, shifted in their life to sort of guide them into their purpose and living their purpose. And I think sometimes people just need that extra little encouragement, you know what I mean, to just step out and do what they need to do. So glad you could be here. Glad to hear about your story. So tell us about yourself. You want to start with Lilah, since you're on the left?
Okay. Hi, I'm Lilah, Kindred Being. Oh my gosh, this has been the most wild ride that Jaime and I have been on. It's been for me. I went through a period where I wasn't interested in anything spiritual at all. I didn't want to. I started off spiritual and ended up in a period where I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And it was just in the last couple of years where that's kind of been reignited.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jaime and I decided to take this journey together. It's been really great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome that you guys are sisters. I guess I should have brought that up in the beginning. A lot of us have asleep family members that, we love to do something with our brother or sister or whatever, but they're just not awake. So it's awesome that you two are awake for this journey, waking up together and working together, because there's nothing like a family, that close bond that family members have. A lot of us have each other as family here online or whatever. So that's really cool. So Jaime, how's this been for you?
I agree with Lilah. It's been quite a ride. I think we have, like, our stories kind of start in the same place and then kind of separate. So obviously we're sisters. We're two of four daughters, two of four sisters, and we kind of grew up in a really religious upbringing, very strict religious, and kind of all the things that we were discussing and exploring now were taboo then. And so as we grew up, we kind of moved away, living several hours away from each other, but still maintained a connection and a relationship with each other. We'd always talked about wanting to do kind of a business together. And when we were thrown back together again in the beginning of 2017, we decided to start working on what that business would be, what that business is going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And in the midst of doing that, we were both going through individual transformations. So we were both learning to speak to our guides, getting messages from our guides. And that direction greatly shaped what we're doing now, what we're doing with the Kindred Being website, and led us on this path in a series of synchronicities to where we are today as beyond quantum healing facilitators and practitioners.
That's awesome. And I do have your links below. I actually want to paste in your email address right now. It's 1111 1:11 my time, but 11:11 your time. So the first to email at email@kindredbeing.com will get a free session with you all. So we can keep an eye out for that. This is only if you're watching this on replay, it's already gone. So just so you know, this is it goes so quick, you know. And but yeah, I just wanted to paste it in there really fast, and we'll see what comes up because I know some people tuned in. I let people know yesterday to tune in, you know. So we'll see what happens. Hey Renee, Enlightened Celt, Go Kart Bob. All right, so you want to check your email, and that way people don't keep emailing.
I'm looking. Let's see. Nothing yet.
All right.
You know those emails, they kind of crawl over. So,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here. So this is exciting. So you took the. I also, excuse me. I want to mention that I do have the BQH link below to save 10% if anyone's wanting to take the course. You can click that link down below and get 10% off because it's mind blowing when you see it work. So tell us what it's been like for you guys with sessions or whatever.
Oh yeah, it has been wonderful. These sessions, well, actually, learning from Candace, BQH has just totally changed Jaime and I's life. We had actually gotten to be part of her beta program. So it was really, really great. We got to actually do her course 3 different times in order. She was changing different things and making it a little more streamlined, which is current course. And we got to, it looks like we got one. Hold on.
Okay, you can stop emailing. Just they don't mind getting emails, but
yeah, we don't mind. We have Belia Mancini.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Belia.
Exciting.
It is exciting. So, okay, so I didn't take the course. I took the final course, so I got to see, you know, the polished version of it, and I thought it was awesome. It was like it was so full of. I mean, I was glad that a lot of it was just video because. I mean, not that it has all these PDFs to help you out afterwards that you can, you know, have like, you know, print them out and put them in a binder, which I did. That way you don't have to have a computer right next to you because I had planned on doing them in person for a while before I tried to get online and do them just to get comfortable with it or whatever. But it was so nice to be able to not only read but just watch the videos, and you can watch them at double speed because I was really thirsty for the knowledge, you know, and I wanted to get through it as quick as possible. And a lot of it I went through twice just because it's so in depth that I wanted to, you know, really get it or whatever, along with reading too. But yeah, it was nice having all the videos. So what do you think about the polished version at the end? Were you pretty happy with how it came out, the course itself?
Oh, yes, yes. I think she did a beautiful job. Candace is such a wonderful person. We were totally drawn to her the minute we saw her.
We love her energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, and doing the beta class, we got to do it. It was more like a live thing, like what we're doing here, where she was just talking and then would take questions from people and answer those questions. And so it was a little bit of a different feel, the beta class from the finished class, but I definitely think she got all the points out that needed to be taught. And we knew, aside from I had been hypnotized before in my life, we had no other experience. You know, we came in newbies, and now we're facilitators. It's beautiful. Yeah.
That's so cool. You guys get to practice on each other, right?
Oh, yeah. That's a fun part.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. So, all right. So tell me about your experience with, you know, did you practice on each other first? Were you guys each other's first?
That's a funny story because in the beta class, we got the induction on, was it April?
April 15th.
April 15th.
Dolores Cannon's birthday.
Dolores Cannon's birthday. We got the induction, and we had been so excited about getting that induction. We were kind of waiting for it, and as soon as she gave it to us, I don't even think we finished the video.
No,
where she was giving us the induction. We just went right into it.
Yeah. They were actually having a worldwide regression that day in honor of Dolores Cannon's birthday. And Jaime and I were trying to figure out how to be a part of those. And then we got the induction, and we were just like, okay, you lay down. All right. We're going to do this.
Yeah. We tried it that very first day. And I think it ended up being like a 5-hour session where Lilah was a facilitator and I was the client, and some pretty amazing things came through in that experience.
Isn't it a trip when it starts working? I mean, you know it's going to work, but when it actually happens, you're like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. It's mind blowing. It's one of those things that's hard to really.
I'm so amazed every time.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah. So you guys learn how to do this, and now you're ready to share it with the world. And how are you finding that people are really helped by getting in contact and stuff? Because I find that people are, it's been a tremendous help for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, because we've been able to do sessions for each other so much, I don't know, I've had about 4. I don't know if you've had about 4 as well. We're able to see how transformational these sessions are, in our own lives, all the information coming through and helping us to learn how to connect with, our higher self and our guides in our everyday life, things like that. And so we see such value in it ourselves, and we just want to share it. We want other people to experience it too. And we're so excited. Every session we can be a part of, we're excited about.
So you're finding that after you guys do it, well, just on your own instances, did you find that like after the sessions you have a better connection just in everyday life?
Well, we actually did a session. The answer would be yes, but we actually did a session where we integrated Jaime's higher self more into herself. So she was probably at a 44% before.
It was 20.
Oh, was it 20% before this session?
It was 20, and then it ended up being 52%.
Yeah, 52%. So she had a integration with her higher self, and so she's a lot more connected than she was before. And they're the ones who gave us those numbers. So
wow.
Yeah, and I just wanted to talk about that experience just for a minute because we were already getting messages from our guides and things like that. But through this session and the integrating and the higher self, it was like an actual physical feeling that I felt. I can feel the energy coming in through my crown and kind of just filling my body. And then after the session and the next day after the session, I just felt more peaceful, more calm. And I felt like answers were able to come to me so much easier than they were before. So if I had a question, I could just kind of take a moment and breathe into the question, and all of a sudden the answer would be there for me. So, definitely life-changing.
So like when you compare like just the whole starting the business together and to take the course to begin with, you had guidance to do that, but now it's like it's much clearer. It's not. You could tell the difference better between what sort of seems like maybe you just came up with an idea and actual guidance. Is that becoming a good distinction? Because for me, I find it's hard to distinguish, until after the fact. I'm like, oh, that was definitely not my idea. I can tell after the fact. But when I get an idea, sometimes I act on it and I don't realize it's higher guidance. It just seems like I got an idea. Like starting this channel was just like an idea I thought I had in my mind. But now I see there was this higher purpose that I couldn't even have imagined it would turn out like it is. You know what I mean? So do you find that it's a better connection like that?
What a lot of people don't realize is that it's in your own voice. Mm-hmm. So it is very hard to distinguish between the two, you know, and I don't know that it's necessary that we distinguish between the two, but it's a matter of following your intuition and following any guidance that you feel. And, you know, and this is a funny story, actually. You don't have to do everything you're being told. I was watching a program one time and the guy was saying, I was being led to go out into like a mall, pick up a sign that says free hugs, you know, and offer free hugs in this mall. And he's like, I own a business. I am not going to go to the mall and put free hugs. You know, who knows what would have happened had he done that? Okay. But we do have choices. We have choices. It's not a matter of now we're connected and now we're giving up our lives and we don't have a choice. We do have a choice. But it's going, okay, these thoughts that I'm having, these feelings that I'm having, these intuition that I'm getting, going, okay, it's not a scary thing. Let me go ahead and see what happens. What's the worst could happen? The worst could happen is, no one wants a hug in the mall, right? Right. That's the worst. You know, but a lot of times we can't even imagine what the best is. We think, like you starting the channel, you made a thought, hey, I'm going to have a few people, you know, it might be, but you don't know how many people's lives you've touched. You definitely touched our lives. You've touched so many people's lives. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, at the beginning, when you were starting this, I'm sure you had no idea how big your show would be.
Definitely not, no. I just had to do something with myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for that, by the way. And yeah, I just feel honored when people tell me that. I'm like, I'm just honored. You know, I have no other words for it. I'm just thankful to be where I am now and to help people out the way, however I can. So we're all on the same team here, you know.
Yeah. So, and you're so relatable. I wanted to let you know, one of the reasons that I fell in love with your show was because you were so honest about having been religious previously, and now you're unbiased and on the fence. Yeah. And that was a journey that we were taking, you know, having been grown up in a highly restrictive religious environment and expanding, you know, and yeah. So we definitely feel that we have something in common there, and we always feel that through your shows. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the religion thing, is your family still highly religious? I mean, are you guys the black sheep of the family now that you've sort of expanded? Or do you not want to talk about it? You can.
Well, our parents are still religious, but we, again, are 2 of 4 sisters, and our other sisters are on this path with us. Yeah. So they've had several sessions from us as well, and we're all kind of on this journey together. And surprisingly enough, even our parents are opening up to some other ideas themselves as well. So, you know, something about when you're changing your vibration and your life is changing in these, you know, these ways, it affects people around you, whether you do it intentionally or not. So that's what we've noticed with our parents, that they are being affected by the change in vibration and the change in direction in our lives.
It probably helps that all of their daughters now are doing it or getting into it, and they're like, I got to at least find out what our daughters are into here, you know?
Yeah. And now they get to be included in our conversations, because for a long time we weren't including them because we felt like it would be offensive to them, you know, but now they're being able to be included in it. And so, yeah, we're all growing closer. It's really a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are more open to it when they're like, they find out, you're like, I don't really have a problem with Jesus. He's still my hero. It's just, you know, the religious systems what I have a problem with, and he had a problem with them. So I don't see myself, although the church would disagree, and, you know, I don't even call myself Christian because they don't call me Christian. They're like, you're not a Christian. You're not doing all of the things we say to do. But I consider myself a follower of Jesus because I feel like he was this service to others hero. of the past that, and he's changed my life. I feel like he's always been my constant, even through religion and out of religion. So, and I think once people hear you're still cool with Jesus, they're probably a little more open-minded to at least hear you out, that you don't have a problem with Jesus. It's like just the church and religious structure that, you have issues with or whatever. But yeah, it's like, I think a lot of my viewers have gone through that. I don't feel like I went away from the church and took a step back and backslid, as the church likes to call it, when you leave the church. But I feel like it was a stepping stone to something greater, at least for me personally. And I always encourage people to take that step and use it as a stepping stone, not to so much get out of the church, like take a step back, but to move into a deeper spiritual walk, because I feel like I got stagnant for so many years just sitting in the church.
Yeah.
Was it like that for you?
Yeah, well, for me personally, because we were raised in this strict religious environment, growing into being an adult, I have to say that I had some anger and judgment about my upbringing. And so the difference with me now, after going through this spiritual awakening, is I'm able to release that judgment and understand its purpose in my life, that those experiences, they had a purpose. And I'm able to relate so much better with people who are really religious because, yes, I do have a relationship of my own with Christ consciousness and with Source. And so I'm able to understand, that everybody's just seeking that connection in their own ways, and so I do feel closer to my parents who are religious, and I'm able to let go of any resentment about our upbringing or anything like that, because I can see it from their eyes now,
Oh, totally. So have you given them a session at all?
I don't know if they're quite ready for that yet.
Baby steps, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Are you finding any commonality between sessions? Like, a lot of times when I talk to Allison Coe and others, they find these common threads that seem to run through the different sessions that they have. And even Dolores Cannon, she would talk about like having a conversation with the higher self on one side of the planet and then like pick up the conversation on the other side of the planet. Do you both facilitate in the same session, or do you how do you guys go about doing your sessions? Do you just each of you take a client, or?
Yeah, that's how we're doing it right now. We've toyed with that idea, but yeah. So for now, we're doing our own sessions with our own clients. I do think we do get a lot of similar things from people that we are facilitating. A lot of it has to do with the fact that we have our own Facebook group, and so some of our clients are coming from that. So we're all discussing things on the Facebook group before we come in,
Right.
So we're kind of on the same page. But it's really fascinating when we do a session with someone who isn't, on that same page with us. And then you're able to touch parts that do overlap. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is confirmation, So it has definitely been amazing. And we're really enjoying being facilitators and hoping to get more clients. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I do have your not only your website below. I also have the let me see, the Beyond Quantum Healing informational page. Your calendar for September is up there, and also the Facebook group you just mentioned is also linked below, as well as your YouTube channel. So, do you guys think at some point you'll start putting up sessions on there?
Oh, we have some.
Oh, do you?
I think we have only 4 now, but we do have 4 sessions on our YouTube channel.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I really enjoyed the part of the course towards the end because Alba Wyman, she does, everybody in this community pretty much knows who she is because she's done so many great sessions and puts so many great videos on there. But the trade secrets that she shares in that one video, I don't know, it was like 2 or 3 hours long or whatever, but it was worth every minute of it, because she went through the process of how she edits the videos, how she mics the client, and how she went through all of that. And a lot of the stuff I learned in school, I'm like, how did Alba learn all this stuff? You know what I mean? I'm like, she uses like Audacity, which is a free program. She like goes through step by step and shows you exactly how she goes about creating such quality videos online. Which, because she makes it look easy, because it sounds so great, it looks so good that you assume that, oh, it must be easy to do this. But her sound is really second to none, because a lot of times people are talking so quietly, it's hard to pick them up. But she's really got that down to a science, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we found that invaluable, and we followed most of her tips.
Yeah.
And try to use very close to the system she has to try and get the same quality of videos. And so you can hear and see in the videos like you can in hers. Yeah, she's been such an inspiration to us.
Oh, yeah.
And she's kind of how we found Beyond Quantum Healing in an interesting way. Through our Facebook group, Kindred Beings, we were able to kind of connect with other people who are on the same journey with us. And one of those people, his name is Andrew, was messaging me privately and kind of introducing me to the idea of Dolores Cannon, who I had never heard of before. So following that and kind of looking up Dolores Cannon's videos on YouTube, and then looking for some session videos that she might have, we found Alba Wyman.
Yeah.
And so through finding Alba Wyman, we were just voracious video watchers.
Yeah. Did you see this one? Oh no, I gotta watch it. Send it to me. I'll watch it next.
We were both, working on our own projects, but we would like listen to her sessions, and just kind of taking in all the information there, and also just being so amazed at the process about what comes through and who you can connect with, and how all of this works. And so through finding Alba Wyman and just getting so excited about that information, it kind of brought us into all these other YouTube videos. And
yeah, so I ended up following Allison Coe right after that, introduced Jaime to Allison Coe, and was just like, oh my gosh, you have to watch this, it's amazing. And through Allison Coe, we found your show.
Yes,
that's how we found your show, because she was on your channel. And then also through Allison Coe, she had been interviewed by Candace. And so Candace was telling about her new program, this beta program that she was going to do, but she was thinking about cutting it off at the end of the month. And so, anybody who's interested better do it. I signed up that day, and I started texting my sister and saying, you have to sign up. You've got to do it. She's like, what is it? And I'm like, you've got to do it. You've got to sign up. I don't know what it is either. Just sign up.
Yeah, we really didn't know what we were getting into. And we were kind of busy. I was busy with my own projects, and hadn't been introduced to Candace yet, and hadn't been introduced to what Beyond Quantum Healing was. We didn't really know what it was. But with her constant pestering, I decided to go ahead and sign up. And apparently it was the last day that the beta class was being offered.
Yeah.
That was the cutoff day, the day that I signed up. And, everything else is history, that brought us to where we are now. And I can't imagine doing anything else. We're so excited about doing this. Yeah. And, we just see, again, from looking back, our guide stepping in and showing us the way, every step. And it's just amazing when you look back and you can see all that.
Yeah, and it's actually helped me to step out also. And through Alba Wyman videos, I learned about Antonio Sangio and introspective hypnosis. And so I've taken his course. That was phenomenal. It He's really great with working with entities. So if you're interested in finding out how to get rid of entities and all that, he does a great job. He also does a great job on the history of hypnosis. It was awesome. And I also ended up taking a Reiki class. Sorry, I'm having throat issues. A Reiki class by Lisa Powers. And, you know, all of these things happened for us this year. You know, we went from, you know, some interest, some loose interest to, oh my God, we've got to move on this. You know, it's like, oh, you know, this is so amazing. And it's really opened our hearts, opened our minds, gotten us connections that, you know, we didn't have before, that we would have never thought possible, you know, and it's just been an amazing journey. It really has. Yeah.
That sounds like that same thing I was talking about with starting the channel. It's like, we don't know what it is, but we're supposed to take it. You just have this nudging, you know, from your higher self saying, you need to take this course. You're like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into, but, you know, and it really worked out. So that's awesome. One of the things, back to Alba Wyman, that I thought was really cool is like, I'd only known her from her sessions and her videos and stuff. So when I'm like watching this and she's explaining this stuff and she's got like this sort of edgy New Yorker feel about her, like during the thing, I'm like, wow, she's like really cool, you know. Not that I didn't think she was cool, don't get me wrong. It's just she was way more like assertive and forceful, and just sort of, you know, like, you need to do it like this, and just like really explaining stuff, you know. Don't put out stuff that sucks, you know. And just, you know, I just hadn't seen that side of her. So when I'm watching the course and she's like really like being brutally honest, like New Yorkers can be sometimes, because I'm from Oklahoma, so everybody here tends to say things, you know, super nice, and, you know, and they don't mean anything bad in New York. That's just how they are. They're just more like upfront, and, you know what I mean? So it was cool to see that side of her, because I'm like, wow, she's like cool, you know. She reminded me of Judge Judy or something, you know what I mean? So I need to get into the whole I meant to ask you guys this. Are you affected by the Mandela effect at all? Or
Yeah.
okay.
That's been a big thing in our family.
I think that we were experiencing Mandela effects even before like our spiritual awakening. I know for me that's so. So I was started experiencing, I think, in 2015, but Lilah has been experiencing it basically her whole life.
Yeah, it's been a lot of it, before you knew what it was, before I knew what it was, you just think, oh, you know, people are moving my things. You know, who's moving my stuff? Oh, I live by myself right now. Nobody's moving my stuff. Who's moving my stuff? You know, so I noticed a lot of things that were changing in my home. You know, they're not as interesting probably as some of the movie references, but, you know, my front door lock always stuck, and then some days it just slides in and I walk in and it's awesome. And there's this barn that is on my way to work every day, and I swear that used to be a yellow barn, and now it is a raw barn that's just plain wood, no yellow. And I remember comparing it in my mind to the lines on the street, you know? So it's like real life examples of what things have been changing. And in one of my sessions with Jaime, my higher self acknowledged that and said that sometimes I get a little hung up on those things, and that I need to just kind of let it go. Things change. It's beyond my control. You know, I can't control the Mandela effect. I can't change the fact that something is different than it was yesterday. And just go with it, enjoy it, you know. But we definitely have some of the, we love watching your videos about it. We were just talking about it before your show. The biggest reference that you made recently was about the lion and the lamb. Yeah. That was a huge one for us. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And then we had talked to our mother about it. And she's like, oh, yeah, the lion and the lamb. I said, open your Bible and look. And she goes, oh, yeah, it's always been the wolf and the lamb.
Isn't that's almost as trippy as the Mandela effect is when you show somebody something and then it's like they snap and get the download and it's like, no, it's always been this way. You just said the
It's
lion and
always
the
been
lamb.
that
No, the
way.
wolf. Like wolves and lions are nothing alike, and then you see all these
Yeah.
paintings. I remember when I first put in Isaiah 11:6 in Google, and you see all these pictures of lions and lambs, and then you
Yeah.
see the scripture like on the painting, and it says the wolf, and it's like hilarious because it says the
Yeah.
wolf will dwell with the lamb, but there's a lion in the lamb that like we always remember it. So it's just
Yeah.
trippy, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this Mandela effect was kind of really freaking me out when I was first noticing it, you know. And then the spiritual awakening started for me in early 2017. And the interesting thing that I found is that there's a correlation between the two. So I had no idea that they were, united in any way that was part of the process. And so the interesting thing has been finding that out and how it's part of it. And through that same session that Lilah was talking about, basically her higher self was saying that these changes are happening all the time. And the only difference is that we're noticing it now.
Isn't
Yeah.
that a
So,
trip? Yeah.
That our awareness.
Oh, yeah.
That we have an awareness of it.
And
Yeah,
it-
so some people are still walking around. That's the people that say, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, Mandela effect, you know,
right.
and they don't see it. They honestly don't see it. So it is part of our awakening process that all of a sudden we're like, hey, something has changed.
Yeah.
You know?
I think for a lot of people, they notice it, but they just don't think. Like for me, before I even knew it was happening, once I knew about it, I heard about all these things. I'm like, yeah, I noticed that. Like the Volkswagen logo and
Oh
just
my gosh,
different
yeah.
things. And you just, nobody thinks the impossible is happening. You think you're able to research it and see it the way you remember it being, but then you look it up, and it's like it's only been the way it is now, like with the little line in the VW logo or whatever the change is. You know what I mean? Like the lion and the lamb. You just assume
Right.
it's a translation, like, and then you look in the King James, what you remember reading it in, and you see your highlighter mark, yet it's got wolf under there, and you're like, oh my God, how did that change under my highlighter?
You're right.
It's a
Yeah.
trip. But yeah, it's always been happening, and I think from what I hear is for some people, they've just always had more of that awareness, so they've noticed for a longer period of time. And now I think more people are sort of catching up to the fact that it's happening. So now more people are noticing, but it's always been happening. So it makes sense. Plus, we have the internet to compare notes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. And see that history like you were talking about and go, hey, wait a minute. Why is it so different? The big one for me was the Berenstein and Berenstain Bears because, my kids, I read those to them. I remember reading those when I was a kid. Jamie and I were talking before this started, but I have a little different recollection about the spelling of it. I remember the actual bear being part of Berenstain Bears. Berenstein's Bears. And so that's changed for me, at least,
Yeah.
and she always liked to tell me, you're from a different timeline,
So, you're a different Lilah. You're not the one I grew up with.
Yeah, that is a trip. I've heard people say they remembered it being Bernstein, and I'm like, Bernstein. So that's
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
strange.
And what's so odd is then you have a memory of both ways, or
Yes.
whatever ways. It's as soon as you're introduced to this other thing, you're like, oh yeah, oh wait a minute, I did remember it that other way, and then like you talk on your videos, how everything flip-flops. So one day, Ford has the little curly Q, and then it's gone, and then it's back again, and who knows how it is today, but
And that's a big trip because once you see that happen, that happened with what was it? Houston. We've had a problem. It had changed too
Yeah.
and then I was like, and I couldn't remember. I wasn't sure about it. It wasn't like 100% one for me. But then it changed back to Houston. We have a problem again, and I was like, okay, I really considered this for so long that I know it changed back to how I
Yeah.
was wondering it was. And we even have like a radio station has like this. segment that they do that's called Houston We Have a Problem, and where they just talk about different things or whatever. And I was like, they have no idea it changed or whatever. And then I checked, and then it changed back. So I was like, ah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's
For us, TV show wise, the I Love Lucy one, where Ricky never said, "Lucy, you got some explaining to do."
Yeah.
You know, never said that.
We were big Lucy watchers.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Lilah was a really
At
big-
one point in my life, I was a Lucy collector. So,
Yes.
but one of the other things that I have a recollection of, and I have found very few people have the same recollection I do regarding I Love Lucy, was I remember in the beginning, she had Lucy spelled out, you know how they spell out the names, it said Lucy, and then it was O ball, O with a little apostrophe, ball.
oh.
And the reason I remember that is because my mother's maiden name is O'Brien. And because we had that O and little apostrophe, I felt a real connection with Lucy because we both had this little O and apostrophe in our names. And so that is really imprinted on me. And now it's Lucille Ball. And so for me, that is completely trippy. I am just like, okay. But if you look back on old YouTube or old, if you just put it in Lucio Ball, there's very few references, but there are some references on the internet regarding that. So,
yeah. And the one that we talk about all the time, and why I say she's from a different timeline, is the Ed McMahon one. That he was part of the Publishers Clearinghouse, and so that's how I remember it. And then she doesn't remember him being a part of the Publishers Clearinghouse.
yeah, I just remember some guy, some brown-haired guy. I think we looked it up, and it was, I go, it's not that guy. It's another brown-haired guy that was just Publishers Clearinghouse, but I don't remember Ed McMahon being.
Wow. See, so it does seem like at times that we're from different timelines, but
Yeah.
I think
oh,
it's
yeah.
our awareness, maybe. Like we're in this pool of possibilities, and sometimes we're just pulling from one consciousness stream to another one, maybe. That would make
Yeah.
sense of why, like, you see the thinker statue with all these people with their fists to their forehead, and then they're like mimicking it, but it doesn't look like that anymore. He's like sucking,
Yeah.
eating a knuckle sandwich, as someone recently
And
said.
so that's actually a statue I've gotten to see in person. But with these Mandela changes, that is like the fuzziest memory I have. I could not tell you which way it was. To me, it was actually both of those ways. And so it's just like, and I know I was standing there, I was looking at it, I saw all the tiny little replicas that the studies he had done ahead of time before you see the big one. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's crazy how it changes your perception,
It does, and I know what you mean by that, because when I saw the new version of the Thinker statue, it looked really familiar to me. It's just I thought at some point another artist did a recreation of it and did it a little differently, because there was just no doubt in my mind of what the one I had on my desk looked like. So when I tried to look up the one I had on my desk and it apparently never existed, I'm like, wait a minute. There's not two versions around. This is like it's like it never existed, and I had to actually Photoshop. The one that you see floating around the internet is one that I Photoshopped because I just had to see it. I couldn't believe there was no way to find any images of it. So it's a trip.
Yeah. Well, that same session we had with Lilah, it was basically talking about how changing your vibration changes your timeline. So, if you're raising your vibration, then you're aligning yourself to a timeline that will match those, your experiences will match your vibration. Same if your vibration's lowering. So that was kind of an interesting explanation as to what might be going on.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that you find with that is a lot of the people that don't see it, that get angry, they seem like kind of lower vibrational people, and then there's other people, like I've had viewers that are like, yeah, I see it, but I can tell they're at that point I was at for like a year, where I saw it happening, but I didn't really believe it was happening. It's like I just assumed that I must be misremembering or something, because that's impossible. That can't possibly have happened. And you've got that, what do they call it, cognitive dissonance, where it just, you don't believe it's possible. So even even though you see it happening, you just can't really believe it. You know what I mean? And I was there for about a year, and I was one of those people that, like I talk to people now, and they're like, yeah, and then they go on about their way, like they don't really get it. I was like that for a year, so I'm more sympathetic or more patient with people like that, because I was that guy for a year until I saw the statue changed, and there was just that really got me over the hump and really made me believe it was happening. It's
Yeah.
just a mind trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Jamie had gotten into the Mandela effect prior to everyone, I think, in our family. She would call us all up and say, oh my gosh, did you find out about this? Did you? And we're like, oh my gosh, Jamie, okay. But I mean, she definitely helped us to start paying attention, like we had said previously, things had been happening around me and I'd been noticing them, but I didn't know what to attribute it to. I just thought, oh, my kids are the ones coming and moving things, or the animals are, moving things, or, things are, and I wasn't really keeping track. And then Jamie just kept talking to us about it. Yeah. And so it definitely brought our attention to that. And it's definitely been fun to share the differences. And especially when we have different memories, then it brings a lot of fun for us. Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, I remember early on, like, I'd look on my desk for something and it was clearly not there. Of course, I'd have, like, all sorts of junk on. I mean, it wasn't that junky to where I wouldn't be able to find it. It was sitting there the whole time. But it's like I look for something and I don't see it. I go look other places. I come back and there it is. And it really started making me wonder. I'm like, dude, is there somebody that's invisible? And they're like, oh, put it back real quick while he's not looking or something. Because you have these little things, but you assume, you're like, oh, how was I so blind to it sitting right there the whole time?
And Alba has a story about that. I don't know if you heard her story. She had a pair of earrings where she had lost one of the earrings, put it were in her little jury case,
The one earring.
the one earring and the one in the jury case, and forgot about it. And then one day she went to go, she goes, oh, I want to wear those earrings. Opens it up and there's 2 earrings in there. And so,
So it happens on this global scale with things that we can all notice together, but it also happens on a personal scale, with our own belongings in our own space as well.
Totally. Yeah, and that's so wild when it happens on a personal level like that. Or I think it was Angela that had taken a picture of the store, and then the logo changed when she was driving by it one day, and she's like, oh my gosh, I took a picture of it. Now I'm going to go pull up that old phone and pull out that old picture that I took of it, because I've got a picture of it the old way. And she, like, opens it up, and the picture had changed. It's like it had always been that way. And that's the trippy thing about this. It's like, how can that happen? It's hard to wrap your head around it.
Yeah. A lot of fun, though. One of our favorite ones is also the Star Trek Beam Me Up, Scotty.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So Star Trek has been a huge part of our family. My dad, it's his favorite show in the world, and
We all grew up watching it.
as soon as we heard Beam Me Up, Scotty hadn't been said, well, now we got to watch them all, right? So, but what really cemented that for me was when I was watching a show that had William Shatner in it, and he said, just so you know, I never said Beam Me Up, Scotty. And just for the record, I never said Beam Me Up, Scotty. And I'm like, what?
Was that recent footage of him saying that?
It was part of his show, which we always have trouble remembering the title. It's him with George Foreman and
Terry
Bradshaw, and they're traveling the world. And it's something like Never Too Old, or
I can't remember.
Never Too Late, or something. I'm sorry, I don't.
It's like within the last few years, though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, what I was getting at is I was wondering if he's trying to help cover for the fact that's happening. So it was like, since it people started noticing it, then he sort of has this thing, because even like who was it? A lot of the people now will say, oh, like Sinbad says, I was never in that movie and took part of doing that spoof thing and all that. But people remember him being in it. So was it a different Sinbad or,
Right,
So
right.
it's really trippy. But then other people like the guy that did the voice of Darth Vader, I can't ever remember his name. He's got 3 names.
James Earl Jones.
Yeah, James Earl Jones. It's always confusing to me having 2 first names. But yeah, he says, of course I remember my lines, and of course it was that. But it's like, well, it doesn't say that. So what are you talking about? So it's just a trip.
He's evidently from our timeline.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's really fun. So do your sisters see it or?
Yes, they see it too. Yeah, absolutely. It's something we all talk about. And we all point the finger at her for not remember Ed McMahon. Yeah, no, we all notice it now, and I think theirs are pretty similar to ours about the ones that stand out for them.
Yeah. And like your mom notices them, but then kind of reneges on it and says, "Oh no."
Yeah, that's so interesting when that happens. Our dad too, he notices them quite a bit.
The beam me up Scotty was a big one for everybody, them included. It was just like, what? That was never said,
And that's a trip because, I didn't know that from Star Trek, but I remember being in with my mom when I was, probably 5 or 6 years old in the car, and somebody had a bumper sticker that said, "Beam me up, Scotty." And I'm like, "What's that?" And she goes, "Oh, that's from Star Trek. That's what they say in Star Trek." And so I looked up, the bumper stickers are still there. So I can't say for sure that, because all I remember is the bumper sticker and they still exist. But it's like, I have to ask myself, why would they exist if he never really said it, right?
Right, exactly.
Shirts and everything. You can find all this paraphernalia that's, beam me up, Scotty, but apparently he never said it. Just like the I Love Lucy when you were talking about. It's a real trip. But yeah, I'll often have the double memories, the dual memories of like lyric changes and songs and like, and I'll know the second I watch a Moneyback 73 video, like he'll like, was it this or this? And I'll think about it. And before he even gives the 2 options, I'll know what the 2 options are. For some reason, I already know. It's like I have a dual stream of memories, so it's a real trip.
Well, my kids were even noticing on We Are the Champions. They were just like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to play it. You ready? What's the last? And, like they're of the world. And it's like, no, gone. Gone.
Yeah. So you asked him to sing it first.
Yeah, I had him sing it first and then played it. It's like, what? Where did it go?
Yeah, it's funny. They've got a new Queen movie coming out. And in the trailer for it, they get to that part and then they stop it, they show a few scenes, and then they have the of the world part even in the trailer.
Oh, wow, I've got to see that.
Yeah, because it just doesn't sound right without it. So I guess, they were just like, we've got to put something there. I don't know if they know or whatever, but the fact that they put it in there just lets you know that even the people creating the movie said, it just sounds funny without an of the world at the end.
Right. It needs a punctuation mark,
Right.
Yeah.
So back to the sessions. So when you guys do sessions, you can do them for anybody anywhere in the world, right? What do they need to have for that? Just Zoom like we're using now, or?
Yeah. So we're using Zoom right now, and we are able to do distance sessions. We also have an office. That's where we're currently
in Riverside, California.
Yeah. So anybody local, we have an office here, but we do offer the online sessions. Very exciting. It is important to know, because it's happened to both Jaime and myself when doing sessions, that there can be technical difficulties when you're doing online sessions. Mm-hmm. But because sometimes the computer just, I don't know, when your higher self is talking, a lot of times, technology goes haywire. It's just one of those things. But just for anyone who doesn't know, you are still in control of yourself at all times during hypnosis. So it's just as easy as going, oh, I stopped hearing somebody talk, let me check on my computer and reconnecting. And so it's it's definitely possible. I always let people know ahead of time if there is a technical difficulty. We're able to reconnect. So, but it's amazing because yes, we can do it anywhere.
We can connect with anyone, anywhere.
Yeah,
and share these sessions together.
Yeah,
go on these journeys. Yeah.
One of the things Allison Coe was saying she does is has a separate app on her phone that she can make voice calls with, and then people can do from their smartphone, because sometimes she says like their internet or their Wi-Fi will give out, and she'll lose the video feed, but she'll still be able to communicate with the audio, So that might be some kind of option to consider.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
But there is a lot of, if you consider like the energy coming in, it's invisible to us, but it can affect other invisible energies like Wi-Fi and cell signals and stuff like that. So it makes sense.
Yeah, and draining batteries for some reason. Yeah.
Just like ghost hunters. Like, it was fully charged, and why did it run down so fast?
Right.
It's like you lost.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's like you lost a chunk of time or something with it just running down instantly.
Yeah. Well, on I think several of my first sessions as a client where Lilah was facilitating, we kept trying to record it, and we could never get a recording of it. We did our last session together this last Saturday, and I posted it on our YouTube channel on Sunday, and still we lost the video halfway through the session. So every time we try to get a recording of that, the energies are pretty strong, and they cut out video, sometimes audio, sometimes both, sometimes,
Yeah,
that's really cool. Yeah, it's cool that it's not cool that it went out, but it's cool that there's these invisible energies that are affecting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
before we came on today, we connected with our higher selves and said, "Hey, you made this happen." Connecting us with Shane's higher self. So Shane's higher self. And let us all connect. Let us all have this live and have the audio work and the visual work. And here we are.
We're glad they're not getting in trouble so far.
Yeah.
It's a good thing because, we've had problems before, and, I know they say different things with the planetary alignments can affect it and all that stuff. I don't really know any of that stuff, but I do know that it seems to come in waves. It's like everyone's experiencing problems right now or whatever. But things have gotten better in the last I'd say about the last half a week or so. Before that, it seemed like we were having problems like every day. So something changed,
Yeah.
Not really sure what it is.
Jamie's been really big on the Schumann resonance lately, and so a lot of times that has to do with energies that are focused here on the earth, and you can see that in this chart that they have.
Yeah, so he has it on his show.
Oh yeah. So so that's been really interesting when we're having days where things are off, and being able to reference that,
and say, okay, this is why I was feeling this way today, or this is why the electrons were going haywire today.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now and see. Oh, yep, it looks like it's ramping up again. So, yeah, we had a huge blast about, I don't know, probably during my sleep, and now it's been pulsating for the last little bit. So, yeah, definitely something going on with that, and I keep an eye on it. Whenever I start feeling any kind of funny energies or whatever, I'm like, I need to check that, or head pressure or anything like that. So, and it always seems to kind of go along with whatever's going on with me. So that's really cool. So we're all connected. We don't even realize how connected we are, not just to each other, but to the planet itself, and and so it's really a trip. I think I'd heard something a long time ago that they said that if a woman was isolated from the Schumann resonance, her cycle quit operating properly. She couldn't get pregnant anymore, and it was like we were so independent, or we were so dependent on the planet's vibration, that we were connected to it, that without it, we have to actually create a simulated 7.83 hertz or whatever it is, Schumann resonance, like if they go too far away from Earth, to create that just for the body to act right, It's strange.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I want to look into those studies.
Yeah. It's,
What that would do to people who go into outer space. Is that why their bodies atrophy? Is that why?
I think they have to generate that. I think they have to actually generate that frequency for them. I didn't check it independently. That's why I say I think. I watched it, but I don't. I'm on the fence until I really check out the studies for myself. I can't really vouch for anybody. So I'm like, that was fake news or whatever. So that's awesome. So with the winner to this whole thing or whatever, I'd like to maybe have you check back and at least send me an email and let me know how the session went or whatever. Or they can drop me an email.
And if they decide to, we can share it too.
That'd be cool. Yeah, and of course you have your own YouTube channel, so you could share it there as well. I recommend everybody to go and subscribe to that and check it out. I need to go check it out because I didn't know you had sessions on there yet. Did you just put them up recently?
I think the first one was probably a month ago, a little over a month ago.
Oh, okay. I thought I checked your channel out, but when I was thinking back on it, I didn't remember any sessions. So maybe I checked it out when we first started talking, and maybe you've put stuff up since then or something.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's hard to keep up. I look through so much stuff.
It's Mandela effect.
Or you
Don't
just
worry about it.
Okay, so what do you guys have? Do you have anything coming up that you want to talk about?
We actually have a group regression on Saturday online that we're doing through our Facebook group.
Oh, yes.
And then on Sunday, we're doing it at a local yoga studio in Upland.
Oh,
And
nice.
so we're doing it both days with 2 different groups. And anyone who wants to come.
Yeah, you find all the information on our website, kindredbeing.com. It's all there. And join our Facebook group because we discuss all these same topics every day, and it's so nice to connect with other people who are on this journey.
Oh, definitely. When you were talking about Worldwide Regression Day, or you were talking about Dolores Cannon's birthday, which was Worldwide Regression Day, did you participate with that group regression by any chance? With Allison Coe and Candace Carl Goldman's?
We were too busy regressing each other that day. We were highly connected that day.
Yeah, that was when we first got the induction.
Oh, yeah.
We were in session immediately.
Yeah, but we did end up watching them the next day. We tuned into, I don't think it was Allison's, but we did tune in and be a part of the regression part of it. So it was
very nice. That's what I did. I did it the next day, not live.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to. I even do that with my own videos. I'll be watching one of my videos and I'll see the chat going and I'll try to say something like, "Wait a minute, this isn't live. What am I thinking here?" So it's kind of a trip. And I have people do that below too. They'll leave comments below and they'll leave like 10 comments because they feel like they're chatting in the window, but they have no idea they're just leaving a new fresh comment every time.
I've spent some time in your chat and there's so much love there, and I just want to give love back and let everybody know how thankful we are for being here and being a part of this whole journey.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm just looking down at all the hearts and smiley faces and rainbows and stuff. That's awesome. So yeah, it is a great group here, and I'm really thankful and honored that people want to come and hang out with us for a while. So that's wonderful. I do want to thank you guys for coming on, and maybe we can have you back sometime to discuss
We love
more.
that. We love that. Thank you, Shane, so much. And thank you
no problem.
for watching.
And I want to remind everybody that might have just come in late that all of their links are below to their website, their Facebook, their YouTube channel, and their September schedule. Everything's there. Did I say Facebook group? Yeah, everything's there. So definitely check them out, get connected, and I guess that will be it for this session. Lots of love and light to you guys.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. Thanks so much for coming on. Bye, everybody. Peace. If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.